Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Solo ReacTalk. This evening, I'm going to be reacting to how World War II created a welfare state, made on the World War II YouTube channel on the Homefront playlist. If you guys want to check out my previous reactions to the other episodes or parts on the Homefront playlist, remember the playlist card is going to be at the top here. Just click on it and be able to access them. If you want to check out the original video as well as World War II YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. Okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
December 1942. British cities still lie in ruins after the Blitz. Many who have lost their homes are forced to find shelter within the London Underground or the caves of the cliffs of Dover. Across the country, the war has made the risk of want and disease even greater. But this month, Sir William Beveridge presents a report that promises not only to repair the damage of war, but create a new world better than before. It has been done in other countries, but here's how World War II made the British welfare state. This is On the Homefront, a series of World War II in real time. I'm Anna Deinhardt. In Britain, the Second World War has dramatically changed the government's relationship with the people. The state is now responsible for directly managing the economy, from deciding upon industrial priorities to controlling food supplies so everyone has enough to eat. Families can also expect government aid if their homes are destroyed by bombing or the breadwinners are conscripted to fight. There is a new healthcare system for those injured by war or who contribute to the war effort. And in this state-planned economy, there has been a dramatic fall in the unemployment rate.
Wow, it seems that, during wartime, as the government takes over the responsibilities, or should I say the position of business, operating the economy, operating the means of production, now it's the state assuming direct control over those functions. And these are the sort of things that, Britain would criticize this new ideology that's been springing up in Russia. How they are also controlling their economy, they're controlling their society, they're controlling the means of production and enterprise and all forms of, social and class structures. In Russia, they're doing that. And now something similar is happening with Britain. Very interesting.
Before the war, it was rarely below 1 million, but by the summer of 1941, it is at 200,000, and those numbers keep going down. The idea that the state has a duty to provide for people in times of need is not new, but that has traditionally only extended to the poorest and most destitute of society. Now, the government bears a social responsibility to the whole nation. The attitudes of the British people are also shifting. People from all social classes have lost their homes, livelihood, and loved ones. It has created a new sense of patriotism and equality of sacrifice that many want to remain even after the war is over.
The elimination of the classes, You have the rich, you have the middle class, you have the poor. It's all being erased slowly but surely because of war. Because everyone in war is affected. Everyone in war has the potential to become a victim of it through either military, through economic means or through social means. Everyone will be affected. And if we all understand each other's pain, if we all live in the same sort of predicament, being rich doesn't matter anymore. Being middle class doesn't matter anymore. Being poor doesn't matter anymore. The classes are being erased. It's also sounding a bit communist right there. But interesting, very interesting.
But the existing social security system remains incredibly confusing. Different forms of social insurance were introduced at the beginning of the 20th century to protect workers against things like the risk of sickness or unemployment. But piecemeal reform meant it soon became a confusing mess of governmental, local, and private schemes. By 1941, 7 different government departments administered different kinds of benefits, all structured and financed in different ways.
It's convoluted and it needs to be, streamlined. There needs to be just one program that deals with, the welfare of the people in Britain. You can't have so many, packages being offered to people. I mean, people are just going to be confused and they wouldn't know which one is the best for them. So yeah, probably just make one or maybe two. One that is spearheaded by the government and the other spearheaded by private institutions, and let the people decide, which is best for them.
This decentralized system has caused services to overlap and fail to make provisions for many of the population. In 1941, less than half the population is covered by the insurance system. Changing all, it has been a core aim of the labor movement for quite some time. But their party is rarely in power. That changed in May 1940 when the wartime coalition government of the Conservative Party and the Labour Party under Prime Minister Winston Churchill takes office. One concession to bring Labour into government was the establishment of a committee to review the current insurance system. Now, on June 10, 1941, Labour Minister without portfolio Arthur Greenwood sets up the Social Insurance Committee.
Labour Minister without portfolio. Hey, okay.
It consists of civil workers from those 7 departments involved in social insurance and representative of the Treasury. Veteran civil servant and economist Sir William Beveridge is appointed chairman. He is already an expert on the matter. He worked on the unemployment insurance scheme introduced in 1911 and was the chairman of the Unemployment Insurance Statutory Committee in 1934. An ambitious man, Beveridge is actually disappointed by the official brief. The order to write a survey of the existing national schemes of social insurance and allied service, including workmen's compensation, and to make recommendations hardly sound world-shattering.
So he wanted a challenge. This is not a challenge enough for him. He wants something bigger. He wants to do something far more amazing, if I can say that. Okay.
So what does Beveridge do? He goes beyond it. He quickly comes up with some revolutionary proposals that indicate he has no interest in improving the current system, but instead building a new one from the scratch. It causes a great deal of anxiety among the cabinet about the extent of the expected report. They ask Beveridge to change course, but he refuses. After some discussion, Arthur Greenwood writes to Beveridge on January 17, 1942, "The report, when made, will be your own report. It will be signed by you alone, and the departmental representatives will not be associated in any way with the views and recommendations on questions of policy which it contains."
Basically, he's saying, I'm washing my hands of anything you say in this report. It is not endorsed by me. I never requested for this. You're on your own. Essentially, you are on your own. Okay, I have nothing to do with what you are doing. That's your own project. Don't call me, I'll call you.
The message is clear. No promises of action. You're on your own. For Beveridge, it's pure motivation. He hurls himself into his project. His committee carefully compiles 127 pieces of reports on the states of social security, the insurance system, and poverty. They are written by various organizations such as insurance companies, trade unions, research institutes, local authorities, and pressure groups. Representatives from the organizations are cross-examined in more than 50 private evidence sessions.
And this is all being done during World War II. I mean, there's bombs being dropped on Britain. The entire nation is get up for war. And, here is Beveridge organizing, compiling this report, getting all this information. is like Britain's not at war right now. I'm amazed by his ability to continue to do his work the way he's doing it without any hindrance from the reality of his current world in terms of this World War II. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Beveridge launches a press campaign to foster support for his work, giving interviews in newspapers and appearing in radio shows. The conservative members of government are more than a bit worried about all this. In autumn, the Home Intelligence Division of the Ministry of Information reports, 3 years ago, the term social security was almost unknown to the public as a whole. It now appears to be generally accepted as an urgent post-war need.
In South Africa, we also have a social welfare system. For the elderly, for people who are ably disadvantaged, if I can say that. Those who are blind or those who cannot walk. Those who cannot hear as well, if I'm not mistaken. Anyone that's got some chronicle type of medical situation, there's also a social welfare system that covers for them. Hospitals as well. Well, it's not really completely 100% free, but it is extremely cheap. The public hospitals for people to enter into them. Also, teenagers who are mothers, they're also given social grants. And also those who are entering into university, there's also a grant system that protects them, especially those who cannot afford to go to university. Also for people who don't have homes, there's what do they call it again? Reconstructive Development Program, RDP houses that are built for people who don't have homes. There's a lot of these programs that our government has instituted. There are people who are, they are not really 100% on board with this social welfare grant or social system that has been created, welfare system that's been created by the government, because it does take a toll on our fiscus as a country. A lot of money is being devoted into this social welfare system, but I think it's a good thing. I think we need it because of our past and how we need to move forward. We will need to carry all those who are left behind. We will need to have them beside us. We can't leave them behind. They need to be beside us so that we can all walk down the path of a better future. So, there are some people who criticize it and who want it to change drastically or be eliminated completely. But I'm not part of that group. I actually, find this as a great success as a developing country like South Africa, that we have this system and it's working for the poorest of the poor, the most disadvantaged, those who are elderly as well, who require protection and some sort of financial support each and every single month for food, for medical services and stuff like that. So I say it's a good thing. I think the worst thing that really just makes our country's fiscus, become troubled, if I can say that, is corruption. That is our biggest threat. Not the social welfare system. It's corruption. That's the thing that continues to, consume a lot of our money and just economic strength for us to focus on building a nation and building a welfare system that will really encompass every single South African. Yeah, it's corruption. But I'm digressing. Let's continue. Sorry, guys.
Anxiety increases again in mid-November 1942 when Beveridge admits to the Daily Telegraph that his report will take the country halfway to Moscow. And the completed report is ambitious as promised. Beveridge identifies 5 so-called giants on the road to post-war reconstruction: want, disease, ignorance, squalor, and idleness.
Interesting. Want, disease, ignorance, squalor, idleness.
He declares his primary focus to be to abolish the first, want, through a comprehensive system of social security. This means that every citizen will be insured against loss of earning power, whether that be the form of unemployment, sickness, or retirement, as well as guaranteed benefits when they are born, when they marry, and when they die.
We must deal not only with want, but with 4 other giant evils. With disease. That's the purpose of the health service. With ignorance. Dealing with that means more and better schools. With squalor. Stopping that means better planning of town and countryside, and more and better houses. With idleness, that is to say, with unemployment.
It will all be organized by a new Ministry of Social Security. Almost as an afterthought, the report also proposes the creation of a national health service. But how much of a financial burden will this be? The report admits that this is difficult to predict with variables like inflation and national income. However, the burden will be split between government tax revenue, an employer contribution, and an employee contribution. This 3-way split is already the structure of most insurance schemes. The main difference is that this will now be single and universal, with fixed proportional contributions. The estimated cost of all of this will be £697 million in the first year of implementation. This isn't new expenditure. According to the report, $432 million would have been spent on social security schemes anyway, a figure which doesn't include individual expenditure on medical care or various forms of voluntary insurance. Beveridge proposes budget does. Unsurprisingly, the extent of the report's financial obligation will be the hottest topic of debate in the years to come.
I mean, when you think of it, all that money is now going to be diverted for the war effort. Currently because Britain is at war. So I don't know if Parliament would, entertain this welfare system, considering that they have to divert all of their resources and money, well, a majority of it, a lion's share of it, into the war effort. But yeah, let's see what happens.
But how radical all this is cannot be overstated. Beveridge has called on the state to provide for its citizens from cradle to grave. No one left behind, no one left in want.
It's quite impressive. I like it.
His justification is the ongoing war. A revolutionary moment in the world's history is a time for revolutions, not patching.
Indeed.
But the cabinet is now debating whether Beveridge reports should even be published at all. Chancellor King...
I mean, it's too late. This guy's been on radio stations. He's been going from town to town discussing about this. It's too late. It's too late.
Kingsley Wood is strongly against it. In a note to Churchill, he writes, "The time for declaring a dividend on the profits of the Golden Age is the time when those profits have been realized in fact, not merely in the imagination." But Churchill feels that Beveridge's press campaign has left them with no choice.
Exactly.
On December 2nd, Social Insurance and Allied Services, the Beveridge report, is published. While the cabinet has been debating, the British troops have achieved major victories in Africa and Rommel is in full retreat in Egypt. For the first time in 3 years, there is a chance that Britain will be victorious. It means the promise of a better future is welcomed even more enthusiastically. People queue a mile long at government bookshops to buy a copy, and within 1 month, 100,000 are sold.
Wow. 100,000 copies of the report. Wow. People really want this future to come into fruition.
The content of the proposal is received with a lot of enthusiasm as well. A survey of public opinion within a fortnight of publications shows that 86% of all interviewees favor the proposal, and so do 73% of all interviewed employers. Politicians are less united. The Labour Party is of course in favor, but the Conservative Party is split. The younger MPs approve of it, while the older ones don't.
Why? Why don't they approve of it? What's the reason?
Churchill is in the later group. A day after the publication, he writes to the Minister of Reconstruction Problems, William Jobert, that no promises about the post-war plans would be made until a financial deal has been negotiated with the United States. The report also has an international audience. The BBC broadcasts details on the report in 22 languages and copies are dropped over the occupied territories. About 50,000 copies are sold in the United States. Professor A. Nichol of the embassy staff of the British Embassy in Washington reports on American reaction. Not the least wonder will be at the everlasting stamina of the British people, probably the only nation in the world which would even form such a plan while engaged in a war of survival.
That's exactly what I was saying, that here's Beveridge compiling this report, campaigning from town to town, making interviews on radio stations, just getting all this information while his country is burning. People are entering into service to join the war. Like there's chaos, but with him and his group of associates, they just continue doing their work and, act as if, everything is fine. In Britain, everything is still hunky-dory. There's no war here. And they're able to do all of this without any hindrance. Yeah, it's different.
After the Christmas recess, the British Parliament will discuss the Beveridge report in February 1943. This will nearly break up the wartime coalition, and it won't be until 1946, after a general election and a new Labour government, before the key measures of the report are implemented and the British welfare state is born. Beveridge has picked up on a zeitgeist that seems to be running through the British people. They don't want to go back to the old world after the war is won. They want a better one to come out of it. The war is a wake-up call, and the changes that society has undergone to survive has kick-started a process that will shape the post-war world. Have a look at my film about the healthcare crisis that came with World War II right here. Make sure that we can keep up our work to present the past and hope of a better future by joining the Time Ghost Army on patreon.com or timeghost.tv and ring that bell.
Okay, guys, that is it with how World War II created a welfare state on the World War II YouTube channel on the Homefront playlist. Yes, William Beveridge really, him and his associates did a very good job here by compiling this report. And his five devils or evils: want, disease, ignorance, squalor, and idleness. Really, I wonder what our welfare program is based on. I think it's also based on Beveridge's ideals of how a welfare state should be run in the country. I think I'll just have to double check on that, through our own legislation and the programs of welfare, the welfare programs. Yes, I'll have to just double check. How was it conceptualized and how was it formed? But these 5 evils are very important, really. The want, the disease, the ignorance, the squalor, and the idleness of the unemployed. Really, I think this is something that any nation should focus on. Creating a welfare system for the disadvantaged, the downtrodden, the poorest of the poor, those with disabilities, those who are elderly, those who are young teenagers, who are mothers. It's very important to make sure that all of your people are protected, are cared for, so that no one is left behind. Because those who are left behind, it will just create this continuous cycle of violence and poverty and crime, and all these types of social ills will just continue to fester and to grow, and it'll just be one generation after the next generation going through the same situations, and it will just create a society that is continuously uneven. My country of South Africa is still considered to be one of the most unequal countries in the world, even with our social welfare system. However, it does have a very important contribution to our country, and I will never question it. I will never doubt its importance for our nation. The only thing we need to deal with is the corrupt politicians. That's all we need to deal with. People who focus on their stomachs more than focusing on developing the country. That's the only issue. But really, a social welfare system is really important for any country, even if it's during the time of war or time of peace. Things happen. People need that backup. People need that protection for whatever situation they might be dealing with. So yeah, this was very interesting to listen and see from this video, and hopefully you guys also gain some information from the World War II YouTube channel, and you also were entertained by my reaction. I don't know. I don't know if you guys actually really like my reaction, but hopefully you do. And yeah, that's it for tonight. If you guys want to check out the original video as well as World War II's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. If you like my reaction, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I'll see you guys 2 weeks from now, I think. Yes, because next week I am on a vacation with my family, so yeah, 2 weeks from now. Yeah, okay. Bye-bye.